Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to create this simple club flyer inside of Canva. So let's get started. Now the dimensions for this is 1080 by 1350 and it is a standard Instagram post size. Once you've added your customized size, you're going to select create design and you're going to end up in a design space that looks like this. So let's put this together. So I'm going to change the background color to that red, and I actually have the color red that I want to use, so I'm just going to pull that from my notes. So this is the red that I want to use. Next, I am going to search for a grainy texture under the elements tab. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to select the photo category and select the first option. Now, as you can see, this is a pro element, pro photo. If it is that you have the free version of Canva, let me see if I can find a few free options for you guys to use. So you could probably use this or this. Anything that has that grainy texture you can use. All right, so I'm just going to use this one. Next, I'm going to apply a dual tone effect to this image. So I'm going to select the image, go to edit, and under filters, we're going to select see all, and we're going to scroll until we find the dual tone category. So you can select on any one of these because you're able to customize the colors. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to select the generic custom one, and I'm going to use my color picker to pull this shade of red from the background. And for the second color, I'm going to do the same with the color picker. However, what I'm going to do with this shade of red is I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more, just to increase the shadows of the color or of the image, so we have that grainy texture showing, right? So once we do that, I'm going to select the image again, go to edit, and under the adjust tab. Now this is free and the filters are also a free feature as well. So I'm going to select adjust and I'm going to increase the sharpness and I'm going to increase the clarity. All right. And the reason why I do this is because I'm going to fade this into the background. So you know that it's going to lose some of that grain quality. So I want to increase the sharpness and the clarity. So some of it can kind of peek through when I fade it into the background. Then I'm going to rotate it to a 90-degree angle and extend it across my design page until it fits. And I'm going to crop off the excess. Then I'm just going to reduce the transparency on this just a little bit. So once you're satisfied with how it looks, you don't have to do the exact same transparency level as me. You don't have to use the same color as me. So I'm going to select the image and select lock and lock it into position. So whenever I'm adding my other elements, I don't accidentally move this. Now I'm going to select T on my keyboard and I'm going to type girls. And I'm going to use a font called Bootsy TM. I got this from Google. So all you have to do is search for Bootsy TM font download. And the first option that you see that says font loader, select it. And you're going to scroll down and select download. It's going to download as a zip file. All you have to do is extract it once it's downloaded on your device and upload it into Canva. Next, I'm going to increase the size of this to about a 268. And I want to position it right here in the center. And I'm going to increase the letter spacing to about 32, like that. Also, I'm going to change this to a cream color. So let me just pull my color code that I have. And I'm going to select the image, the text, sorry, select the color icon. And I'm going to select add color and paste my X code right here. And we should have something like this. Next, I'm going to select the image, go to effects, and I'm going to add a drop shadow just to lift it from the background. I'm going to let everything stay the same. I'm just going to increase the transparency to about a 45, like that. Then I'm going to duplicate this again, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to reduce this to about a 252, thereabout. And I'm going to rotate this to a 90-degree angle and position it right here. Now let's grab our image. So I got this image from Pinterest. You can definitely use whatever image you want to use, but for me, I'm going to use this one. All right. So I'm going to remove the background, and I'm just going to crop the excess regions, and I'm going to increase the size of this, and I'm going to position it in front of everything like so. Right? And we should have something like this. Just go to elements and select frames at this section here. And I'm going to scroll down and select the blob category. And I'm going to select this one right here. You can select whichever one you want based on what we're going to do. And I'm going to position this about here. And I'm going to reduce the size just a little bit, like so. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab our original image, and this time I'm going to keep the background and I'm going to drag it inside the frame. Now I'm going to double click on the frame, and I'm going to tug on these corners to expand the image to have it aligned with our original photo, the bigger photo. So I'm also going to zoom out because this is going to take some time and a little precision. And I'm just going to enlarge this until it aligns with our original photo. And try to key point somewhere on the larger photo so you know when the image is aligned. So for example, I'm focusing on the shoulders. So when the shoulders align, that is like a guide to tell me that, okay, you're getting it. All right. And we should have something like this. We'll have something like this. Once you're satisfied, select done. And it should have something like this. No, it doesn't look like a big difference, but when we apply the effect, you're going to see what I just did. So I want to select the main image, which is the bigger photo, and I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to go to adjust, and I'm going to play around with the brightness, the saturation, the contrast, all of those things. The blacks, the vibrancy, saturation, the sharpness. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go to filters, and I'm going to use this Noir filter under the mono category. And I'm going to let it stay at 100%. So now you kind of see that contrast, that difference with what we just did. Once you're satisfied, I'm going to select both images and select group. So if we're moving them, they're moving as a collective. All right. Let's add some additional text. So for this text, I'm going to use a font called Garlic Salt. And this is definitely a Canva font. And I'm going to use the bold font. And I'm going to rotate this to a 90-degree angle. And I'm going to position it here. And I'm going to change the color to white. And let's just zoom in. And for this, I'm going to reduce the size. Now, when you reduce the size of your font, always ensure that you increase the letter spacing so it is readable. All right, so I'm going to put this at about 706, and I'm going to stretch this across, and I'm going to position it right here. And we're looking good. Next, I'm going to duplicate the girl's text, and I'm going to put the date. Then I'm just going to adjust it. Now, as I can see, we have a big gap here, so I'm going to ensure to reduce the line spacing, like so. And I'm going to align this to the left, like so. Let me just increase. And we're going to position this about right here. And we're going to change the September, the date to white, just to add some contrast between the two texts. And I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to rotate this to a 0-degree. And I'm going to Then I'm just going to reduce the letter spacing just a little bit and align this to the left as well. And I'm going to group this together. Then I'm going to search for star. I think it's star glare on the elements. And I'm going to go on the graphics. And I'm going to use this one. No, not this one. Let's see. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to rotate it to about a 45-degree angle. And I'm going to position it right here and reduce it just a little bit. Then I'm going to get our original image. Now, this is optional because you may use a different photo from what I'm using. So this step is definitely optional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edit and select magic grab, and I'm going to pull the image from the background because I'm going to use the background. So instead of doing a background remover, I'm going to pull the image from the background, and it's going to separate the image from the background. So I'm just going to delete the photo, and then I'm going to adjust this to the size of our page, and I'm going to reduce the transparency, and I'm going to go to position and go to layers, and I'm going to pull this right on top of the grainy background, and you can increase the transparency to your liking. I want it to be a little bit darker like so, so I'm going to leave it as is, and I'm also going to lock it in place. Next, I'm going to select girls, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to stretch it across our screen, and I'm going to reduce the transparency where it's hardly visible, and I'm going to position it behind our text like this, and I'm going to reduce the transparency some more like so, and we're going to duplicate this again, and we're going to put it right behind everything that we have. Then we're going to duplicate this one. However, for this one, we're going to keep it on top, and we're going to slant it diagonal, and we're going to extend it, and we're going to position it like this. Now, when we're done, we're going to export our design and re-upload it into Canva. So go to share, and instead of selecting download, select see all and select copy to clipboard, and Canva is going to copy the design so you don't have to export it and then re-upload it into Canva. Once it's copied to the clipboard, you can just paste it, and it's going to automatically be added to your uploads. All right, then we're just going to select paste, and we should have something like that. So once you copy and paste it from the clipboard, it's going to automatically be found in your uploads. Next, we're going to extend it like this. Then we are going to go to edit and select texture, and we're going to use the worn out paper texture. No, we're going to keep the opacity as it is, keep the rotation as it is. If you want, you can increase the scale just a little bit more like this, but it's all up to you. All right, so I'm going to increase it just a little bit like this, and I'm going to select save, and that's basically it. Like, this is it. This is your design. Now you can export it and post it on your platform, have it printed, whatever it is that you want to do. Also, this was done on live, and I was asked to recommend similar fonts to Bootsy TM that are in Canva. There aren't a lot similar to it, but I found a few that are basically giving the same vibe. So I'm going to put the list right here. And that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe and stay blessed.